I could have been an architect, and I just didn't use the potential God gave me. But I went to work finally. Daddy had let me drive his 75 Granada 2-door. It's white with a tan top. And he let me drive it till I go look for a job. And I went over to the employment. He said, well, if you quit in school, you're going to have to go get a job. I said, okay. So he gave me some gas money and everything. And I went over to the unemployment office. And there was a big old long line. I said, oh, my goodness. He told me what I have to do when I go in there. He said, you have to wait in line usually, and you'll have to fill a paper out. They'll ask you what you can do, and you just tell them this is, you need to get any kind of job, basically. So I was standing in the back of the line. I thought, well, I'm going to play this by ear. Well, a man walked in the door, and his name was Eddie Yunt. He said, you need a job? I said, yeah. He said, follow me. I didn't know what it was. I said, I just needed a job. And I followed him. I followed him all the way to the snack bar over on 70 down in Fairgrove Church Road. And he gave me a job right there. He said, when can you start? I said, tomorrow. I could start tomorrow. And he wanted me to start today because he needed help today. But I had some running I wanted to do because I had the car. So anyway, I went to work at the snack bar and I curb hopped. They had speakers out there that people were talking to, and they'd make their order. You'd carry the food out to them. That's curb hop. And I'd wash the dishes and stuff like that in there and did whatever I had to do. That was my first job. I was 16 years old. And then after a while, they let me eat everything I wanted for $1 a day, which made Eddie mad because I was taking advantage of it. You know, I was eating like a hog. I'd have my milkshake every day, a seafood platter if I wanted, hamburgers all day. I mean, I was eating. I gained 30 pounds working there. It was terrible. So when I quit, Richard Van Horn, he said, man, you gained so much weight since you come here. And but I'd come back later and I'd lost all of it. He's so proud of me. But I broke a bunch of dishes. Eddie was bad to mop the floor just to kind of clean up a little bit. Well, he didn't tell me he just mopped, and I walked across the floor and I had about 30 dishes in my hands, small bowls, and I slipped and fell and broke all the dishes. So he told everybody, he said, if you break any more dishes, they're $3 a piece. And I said, I can't pay for all that out of my check. I said, you just mopped the floor. I ain't doing that. He wanted me to pay for them dishes, and it really got to me. So I quit. I told Dave, I said, can you give me a job up there where you work? I said, he's trying to make me pay for them dishes. And I said, I was crying. I was tore up. I said, he's taking my whole check because I didn't make it, but I drew $101 a week for 40 hours of work. And I worked hard. And so I quit. And Daddy got me a job over there at Comfort Chair where he worked at. And I was a chair roller in the basement. I worked downstairs in the frame room, and I was a chair roller. I'd take the chairs up to the Sanders or to the Spring Up or whatever, wherever they were going. So it was interesting. And I was a chair roller, and then I forget. First I was wiping glaze. That was terrible. I was so glad to get the chair rolling job. When I first went in there, I was working with 5 other black women that talked where I couldn't understand them. They were very nice women, most of them, but I couldn't understand them because they talked Ebonics, and I couldn't keep up with them. And they would just want me to hurry, and I was not. They was real good at wiping glaze, and I wasn't. I'm like, I wasn't good at wiping glaze. I didn't get the concept, I wanted to be real thorough and get all the cracks and everything, and they're just flopping it like a mop,
Yeah.
I couldn't get it all done as quick because it was on a conveyor belt and it was moving pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so I was panicking. I couldn't get my job done. And so I was fussing about that. I said, they're fussing at me all day long. I can't keep up with them. And they're saying I'm taking too much time wiping the glaze. And so I asked the supervisor, I said, can I please move to another department? And he said, yeah. He said he had a job on the other side of the wall doing a chair roller. So I rolled the chairs around, take them to the departments wherever I had to go. And I'd get to go up and eat lunch and breaks with my daddy. He worked upstairs. I'd run up the conveyor belt to see him or up the steps. And Daddy would bring us lunch and snacks and stuff like that because I was young and irresponsible. I didn't think, I didn't think about feeding myself. I expected him to do it. But Daddy he'd always bring us something, pack us a sandwich or whatever. One day he made a salad, and it was pretty good salad. And I was sitting there eating my salad, and that song back in '82. I forget who sung it now, but it's an old country song. That's My Job. You remember that song, Jones? Mm-hmm. Well, that song was playing, and I told Daddy, that was a good salad, Daddy. I said, you have to bring us another one of them. He said, that's my job. That song was playing. And he was kind of making a point, joking at me. That's what I do. Everything I do is because of you, to keep you safe with me. That's my job, you see. And that song now makes me want to cry because my daddy was looking after me. And I was just a young 16-year-old boy that didn't know I didn't know my hat from a hole in the ground, but Daddy he loved us. And I guess when I was younger, I didn't really appreciate my daddy like I should have. I didn't know like I should have, but because I rebelled against him and his ways of thinking. We were on different levels of thinking, and I was very immature, and he wanted me to grow up, and but in my heart I was disrespectful toward him, and we didn't get along too good there, for a few years. But I had to figure out that my daddy was my best friend, and I call him every day now, and we talk, and we have a good relationship. But that's something the Lord had to help me with through the years, and I had to grow into it because I didn't want him to tell me what to do. And I did not want Dave to tell me what to do. And he'd always tell me, he said, now don't you run off this weekend. He said, you've got tires to buy on your car and you got insurance coming up or whatever. And I just die. I want to go somewhere because my grandma said, you're burning the roads up with you're burning your tires off on the road. I want to stay going all the time. And I'd go visit my grandparents regularly. I love them. Take my grandma Moretz, my grandma Bertie, we'd go out to Fat Boys and get us oysters and baked beans and all the good stuff on the buffet. It was awesome. And but I had a good time, and I had my best buddies, Scott Green and Tim Robbins. We'd all hang out and do stuff together sometimes too. Go to the movies with Joey Myers. We had the best time. We was good friends. We grew up in the church together. We'd go to the movies, and just a lot of good friends, a lot of good memories like that. But I love driving, I wasted a lot of money with cars. I traded, I couldn't be satisfied with the car until I got my Old Town car. You remember the Old Town car? I kept it for a long time. I kept it for 7 or 8 years, and that was a record for me. And then my old pickup truck, I've had it for 13, 14 years, my old one. But I just upgraded just a few months ago, got me a new Ford, pretty new Ford. But it was interesting, and then let's see, oh gosh, there's so much to tell. But in 1984, wasn't a whole lot going on in my life, just not much going on. And I was kind of running from God. I was going to church, but kind of running from God too. But your mom's family was moved to Lenore, and so I met your mom at a fellowship meeting, and we got to dating, and they moved to Florida soon after that. I think Grandpa was running from me for a while, but I caught up with him later. But after a long turn of events, about a year later, we ended up going. I drove down there to the prom. They'd moved to Bowling Green, Florida, and I drove down to the prom to take her to the prom, and flew over the 4th of July down there. And that was something else. We got to fly on People's Express for $29, which was a deal, for a 2-way ticket. That was pretty good. Well, that's $29 one way, or it's $58, or about $60 for the whole trip. But anyhow, we got engaged, got married in '85 in Bowling Green, and then wasn't too long. She got expecting with you. You come along in '86, and you was a cute little blonde-haired boy. It was a little curly hair, and this cutest little fella just running around the house and playing, and you was the apple of your grandparents' eye. And there's one picture of you in a red sweater that Grandpa Dove says that was his favorite picture of you. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or not. You was wearing a red sweater that Aunt Pat got you. Your Aunt Pat Honeycutt, Russell's wife, or Brenda's sister. She was all good to buy y'all clothes and things and nice things, and she'd buy y'all Oshkosh by gosh and real nice name brand stuff. And but anyway, she sent some real pretty clothes for you guys, and so we had your pictures made. But a lot of good memories there. And she was, Aunt Pat was the first one that had made 7-layer salad, which is a favorite of mine to still make today. Yeah. The family enjoys that. Me and your mother hadn't been married long, and we had went there. They invited us up there for lunch after church, and I went with her to Trinity Baptist Church, where your grandma and Pat and Russell was members. And so after we went to church, we went back to their house, and she had that salad, and I thought that was something else. A 7-layer salad. It was delicious. It wasn't nothing but vegetables and mayonnaise, but it was so good. But I learned how to make that thing, and I've been working it out ever since. But a lot of good cooking. Your grandma, she'd make them big old cat head biscuits and stuff. Great grandma. But there's some good people, and they're all with the Lord now. But anyway, then Heather come along, And she wasn't here but about 6 months, and she started dragging real bad with her breathing, and we ended up having to take her to the hospital. And well, your mom took her first because I thought maybe she had the croup or something, and then it ended up she had a lot of health problems, and that went on for a few years. She had a trach and all that. We had nurses in the home. It was stressful, but the Lord helped us through it. But and then the hospital bills were surmounting. They were huge, but after so long a time, they wrote them off. It was just like God did a miracle, really. And one time we had to get C.J. Underwood up there because our insurance company was trying to. C.J. Underwood was a reporter from Channel 3 News, and he came to our house, to the trailer where we lived, and he broadcast that for us and negotiated with us, with the insurance company, because they were trying to deny paying for us, and with Heather's condition. And but God worked it all out. And a lot of things happened while she was in the hospital. It was risky, a lot of surgeries and things, but God was faithful. And Dr. Matthews was her doctor, and he was so happy. The last surgery he had given her, he said, "I think we've got it this time." And she had to have stomach surgeries and everything, but God was faithful. And then a year went by or so, and then Jeremy, he come along, and let's see, he was born at Fry Hospital. You and her were born at Catawba. And your mom was real scared. I got to go into the birthing room to see you born, but Heather, she came too quick. Your mom was panicking because she thought she couldn't breathe because she had a spinal. And but I got to go back in with Jeremy when he was being born, and that was interesting. When he came, they couldn't get him suction quick enough, or he didn't start breathing quick enough. She got real scared, for that. But they finally got him to wake up, and he woke up, and he was a cute little fella. And but it was hard those first few years because you had to stay with Grandma and Grandpa Dove and Grandma Clemens and different ones, because we'd be back and forth to the hospital in Winston for a year, basically. It was back and forth, And so I didn't get to see a whole lot that one year. 87 was a real tough year. That was the same year that Johnson and David lost two of their children, within 6 months apart. It was a very sad time. But the Lord was faithful and helped us all get through it and everything. And that's what we called our group the Overcomers, because we've been through so much, And the Lord had really touched Heather. And after she turned 3, she got to take the trach out and everything. Be a normal little girl if she is one. But anyway, you kids were great kids growing up. You were good children, and we tried to homeschool you for a while, and we didn't realize y'all was bored to death with all that stuff. But we was trying our best to keep y'all out of trouble, and trying our best to shield you from the world and everything. But you can't really do that. They're going to find, children will run into trouble wherever they're at. And but we tried to use the best methods of parenting we could, and if we could go back, probably do a lot of things different. But especially me, because I had to forgive myself for a lot of things, because I was just an ignorant, unlearned person, and I didn't know how to raise children. I didn't have a manual for it, and I was just ignorant. But I appreciate my children still love me, and all like that. But there's a lot about my life I wish I could go back and do over, Josh. But I have to thank God for allowing me to keep living, and I have to thank Him for allowing me to be forgiven. And I do thank Him for helping me to see His grace and His mercy, because I hate myself most of all for things I've done in the past. So I have to forgive myself. If you can't forgive yourself, how can God forgive you? And I had to learn how to forgive. I had to learn how to say I'm sorry. And a lot of things that my life has changed, but God's been good to me. And at one point in my life, I seemed like I lost everything I had, And but God restored a lot of things, and then He took some things away again. I went up and down and up on some mountains and down through some valleys, but God was faithful, and He helped me restore my life, or He restored my life. I didn't have nothing to do with it. But I was praying one morning in the shower. I prayed in the shower a lot. And I was going through a grieving process many years ago, and I said, Lord, you got to do this way. You got to do it this way, this way, this way. I mean, I didn't say it this way, but I said, Lord, do this, do this, do this. And there's 2 songs that come on. One of the Greens said, God has another plan. And the Whisnants sang, What If God Says No? And it was like the Lord spoke to me while I was praying. I heard the song playing while I was praying, but the Lord was speaking to me. I'm not going to do it the way you want it done, Brian. And but I will be merciful to you, you know. And He was merciful to me, but God didn't do what I wanted Him to do it the way I wanted it done. But He's faithful, and He knows what's best for us. And sometimes He has to turn the pages and the chapters of our life where we can't understand that, but He fixes it the way He wants it. And when we've messed everything up, He knows how to fix it. He knows how to paint a better picture and how to do things, you know. When we mess things up, He knows how to fix it, you know. It's just like a child, you paint a beautiful picture and a child comes up and puts his hand in it and messes it up. God knows how to come back and recolor and put things back in place. But it's all by the grace of God, you know, that I'm still living today.
What you gonna do if the deacon don't dig?
Hold an election. No.
Have a secret board meeting? No. Get his wife after him. And let the church roll on.
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 Let the church roll on.